Good afternoon. Good to be back home again. Excellent opponent coming into town in Eastern Michigan. But I think before we even talk about the game, probably appropriate that we talk a little bit about the ceremony for Eric LeGrand. As everybody knows, we're going to retire his jersey this weekend. We've got quite a few things in store for him, and I know he's excited about it. I'm excited about it. I think it's something that Eric deserves. He's been so inspirational to our program, both before and after his accident, and has always stayed a part of our program. He is going to come by and speak to the team tomorrow. He stopped by practice last week to watch for a little bit, but he's actually going to come by and speak to our team tomorrow, which I know they're going to look forward to seeing that. And we will do the ceremony at halftime, and we will have a ceremony on the field. We'll present Eric and his family with something, and we've got a little surprise in store for him as well that we'll present to him at halftime. I know there's going to be a couple things going on at the beginning of the game. I know Eric's going to be there early. I know there's a limited quantity of 52 signs for the folks that come into the stadium first to have, and I'm sure people are going to make their own signs as well. I know everybody's going to be excited to see Eric back down there on the field. I know I am, and I'm looking forward to a great day with Eric as he continues to be a huge part of our program. And our opponent, Eastern Michigan, Ron English comes in here, and we have some familiarity with Coach English as a defensive coordinator. At one time, he was at Louisville. Before that, he spent quite a few years at Michigan. He's as good a defensive coordinator as there is in the country. He calls the defense himself. They are similar to what we do on defense. They're a 4-3 configuration defense. They like to pressure. They play football the way you would think a defensive coordinator's team would play football. They're very physical. They do a great job of taking care of the ball. They've got a nice turnover margin right now. On defense last week, they scored a touchdown on defense, blitzing the quarterback, picking up a fumble, scooping and scoring. And on offense, they challenge you not just with their physicality, but with the way they line up. And they play the game with multiple tight ends on the line, off the line, motions and shifts. So it'll be an excellent challenge for us as a football team this Saturday to be 1-0. Questions?
Coach, can you talk a little bit about Eric LeGrand and him being around this program and what it means to him, what it means to you as a program with, you have some players here now who've been coming in who weren't here when he was here. It was one thing when it was, all of his teammates from the year after. But, now that there's new guys in the program, what is that like having him around for them?
Yeah, I think you're right. Quite a few of the players on our team, they only know Eric as a celebrity. Some of they see on the ESPYs or on a commercial or doing the radio show or play-by-play. And the most important message or the most important thing I try to say about Eric when people ask me questions about him is Eric was every bit as inspirational before anything happened. He was one of the first players who committed his year in the recruiting class. And from the moment he stepped on our campus, he was a huge part of the athletic department, not just the football team. You would see him at soccer games. You would see him at lacrosse games. And certainly when he was playing football, he played with tremendous enthusiasm for the game. And all those characteristics about Eric, he's continued to have them, even now. And that, to me, is really the best thing I could tell people because it's not something that just started, that day in Giant Stadium.
Kyle, with the halftime ceremony, will you be able to be out there at all for it, or how will that work?
I'm going to be out there for the beginning of it, and it takes the team a couple minutes to get up into the locker room, and then the coordinators get them from there. So I'll be able to be out there for the first couple minutes of it and congratulate them, and then I'll get back to work, and then the rest of the department will take it from there.
Did anybody mention that Eric actually had two numbers here? Remember when he played on offense? He played fullback?
As I like to, I believe it was it might have been 46 or 48. I'm not sure which one it is, but as I've said to Eric on many occasions, to say that he played fullback is a very loose interpretation of that expression. And we tried him there. I want to say it was the North Carolina game. It might have been that we tried him. I can't remember exactly which game it was, but it was a short stay on offense for Eric. He was born to be a defensive tackle and a nose guard, and that's where he fit best.
Given what's happened on paper, if you look at things, would this be another game where you would try to be formidable in the run game? Not that you don't usually, but you were last week. It was the highest run total in 7 years. Given Eastern Michigan has struggled so much against the run, is that something you'll try to establish early and often?
I think it is something we'll try to establish early, but more so because it's our personality than anything else. And when you have success running the football early in a game, it certainly leads to more runs in the game, like last week. And then sometimes when you don't have as much success as you'd like to have running the football early in the game, it could lead to opening up the passing game. And I believe that. And that's the way we play here. And we've been able to generate some points and move the ball now in 2 games, doing both. And last week, I think some of the positives we had in the run game early and the way we played defense allowed us to continue to run the ball a little more so maybe than we have in recent games.
Kyle, how have you evaluated your pass rush given the scheme that you faced in your first game and last game you didn't really see many pass attempts?
I evaluate it for what it is, and I think your pass rush works in a couple different ways. Certainly, if you get sacks, that's what you would love to have. That would be the perfect end. But if you play against a team that alters the way they play to get rid of the ball more quickly, well, then you've had an effect on them. If you have a quarterback who maybe is not going to his second, third, and fourth read because he knows the rush is coming, then you've had an effect on the game. Sometimes those effects are tangible and sometimes they're not. So, we're going to put our best pass rushers out there, and sometimes we'll rush with 4, and then sometimes we'll bring pressures and rush with 5 or 6.
Kyle, you can watch Eastern Michigan on film, but you have a player in your program in Toller who played them, I think, the last 3 years. Is that an added resource, something the coaches can go to him and kind of, I guess, get a feel for what they actually do on the field more so than just on film?
I'm sure the defensive coaches and Coach Wilson will ask him maybe about some of the personnel at receiver or possibly about the quarterback, but probably not much beyond that.
Kyle, when you watched what Savon was able to do in the second game, was there any differences that you saw in what he did compared to what he did in the first game?
I think he improved. That would be what I would say. I don't know if it's any one thing. I think as Savon and PJ get more opportunities to run the ball, their reactions will become quicker, and that's what will make the runs look better. And I think that happened from the first game to the second game, and hopefully we can make that happen again now.
Deering through 2 games, what have you seen from him at safety?
I think Deering has been very steady so far. I don't know if he's been really challenged just yet, and that could happen this week. The first week, with as good a quarterback as he was and the quality of the receivers, the way they played the game just didn't challenge the safeties the way it really challenged the underneath coverage and the corners. And last week there weren't a lot of opportunities really down the field where he was challenged. But he's going to be challenged, and he's improving in practice, so we see it every day. Maybe the opportunities haven't been there in the game just yet, but he hasn't given me any reason to believe that he won't continue to improve as the season goes on.
Coach, with Nick Marsh, is he everything you expected? I mean, in what you saw with him in your evaluation, how important has he been?
He was really important in the second game. He was not consistent enough in the first. So when you say, is he everything I expected to be, he was in the second game. The punter in the second game was exactly what I thought we were going to get after the preseason. And I think now, as he gets more and more comfortable here at Rutgers, hopefully he can continue to be that consistent. I mean, he had a hell of a day last week.
Kyle, you have Garif and Toller listed as one of the corner spots. Is that the result of one over the other in terms of their play so far? And when will you make that decision, do you think?
I think they're very close. And even last week, I think I had it listed a little bit differently, but I knew both would play. And I think they played about the same in the game. And sometimes at the same time they play. So we'll make that the final decision probably after the Thursday practice. But regardless of who starts the game, I feel like we've got 2 guys there that can start for us, and both are going to play quite a bit.
Coach, what was it like to see Al Page take advantage of the playing time against Norfolk State and to finally see him healthy on the field?
When you say take advantage, do you mean the TFLs or the offside penalties? Which one are you referring to?
Both.
Well, I think Al at times did a good job for us in that game, but I think he also realized that it's not as easy as just lining up. And there's a lot that goes into playing major college football, and Al's going to play a lot of football for us. And I think he took a step in the right direction despite the penalties. But the penalties are something that we can't tolerate. And ultimately, if the game isn't going in that direction, they're going to hurt you.
Kyle, it's a little peculiar to see a quarterback throw 12 for 21 but still be part of 38 points. So just overall thoughts on Gary's performance?
I thought given the opportunity to make some plays, he did. And just the nature of the game I don't know if he got into the same kind of rhythm maybe that he had in the first game, but I don't think there'll be any carryover. I don't think there's a carryover from the first game to last week. I think this week will be a different scheme, different matchups, different personnel, and a different game plan. So, we started the process last night, and we'll really start installing the game plan tomorrow morning.
They released the injury report today. Is it more, if Jamil and Paul are probable, is it more nuisance injuries at this point in terms of the personnel and the impact on your two deep?
I think, I don't know that any of the injuries are. Nuisance maybe to the players, not to me. I think for Jamil, he's been close, and then we have to make a decision that at whatever percentage of health he's at is it in his best interest to play? Is it in our best interest for him to play? And I haven't felt that that's been the case just yet. I'm more confident this week than I was last week. That's why I think I moved him to probable this week. Let me see what I have down there. Yeah. So I'm more confident this week that Jamil will have a role in this game, and we need him to. We need his passion out there on the field, because it's not just him as a player. He has an effect. He's one of those players on defense, and we've had quite a few of them here from he's going to get mad at me because I'm going to forget his last name. Eric, our defensive tackle. What's that? Eric Foster. Sorry, Eric. From Eric Foster was that kind of guy when I first got here. The way he played was infectious, and I always felt that Steve Baharnis was that way. Damaso Munoz was that way to a certain degree. I thought Scott Vallone, to a certain degree, is that way. There are certain players on defense, and they seem to show more in the front than anywhere, that the way they play has an effect on everybody else around them because they play sideline to sideline.
Kyle, is Kenneth Kirksey back and kind of resuming the role he had before his suspension?
Yeah, as of last night, Kenny's back, fully reinstated back into the program. He'll be our second-team nose guard this week, and we expect him to play a lot.
So with Merrill listed as the starter, I'm guessing that's not strictly out of injury concerns. What have you seen from Merrill so far?
No, I think Merritt deserves to be listed as a starter. Yeah, he's playing quite a bit for us, and without knowing exactly what Jamil's role is going to be yet, I don't think Jamil will be out there full-time tomorrow. We're going to try and get him involved with some things. But I think Merritt's taken advantage of an opportunity. And for somebody who didn't start training camp in the two-deep and was kind of on the periphery of some of these positions, he's found a role and found a way to contribute and play good football for us. I believe we used 10. Yeah, I think we got all the starters out and got an entire second group in there by the last series.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Kyle, can you just going back to Eric for a second? I know you do that radio show with him every week. I mean, how have you seen him blossom now that he's in a different role besides a football player? And I know he's still around the team, but are you surprised at all with his personality, how famous he has become, and how have you seen him blossom into, a media guy?
Yeah, Eric's a rock star. I'm not surprised by it at all, because Eric's the kind of person that you feel better when you're around him, and that has always been the case, not just in recent times. And from the moment that he committed to Rutgers football and became a part of the family here, he was just somebody that he's like a people magnet. And everybody is drawn to him, and he's got a great personality, and he's got a great way about him on the radio, and he's getting better at doing that as his career goes along. And I know Chris is in the back here, and he helps with the radio show, and he's had a big part in trying to mentor Eric and bring him along in this profession as well. So, to Eric's credit, he listens, he takes the advice, but just from a talent standpoint and a personality standpoint, he was built to be out in front of things and in front of the camera. Thank you.